I have been thought multiple times about trying to understand the situation that is happening at the borders down there, with the migrants coming in, and with, you know, the border security, and with the troops that are down there, and also with the militia that is down there. And you know, I might not have the right conclusions here. I admit that. I also feel like I haven't been able to get information, correct information, facts. Thousands of people. And you have to understand that I might be a little skeptical, because the very same thing happened to us multiple times when we were at the ranch. You know, there was all kinds of media lies, media inaccuracies, the misrepresentation of the facts. I mean, and both, you know, Nevada and Oregon. In Oregon, they constantly pitched us as these militants that were hiding behind, you know, these brick buildings or rock buildings with AK-47s in our hands, and that we were ready to fight, and that anybody who came close, we would start shooting, and you know, that we were these dangerous, violent men. And yet those who came to the refuge know that it was always open. The media was free to come and go. The public was free to come and go. We were feeding people, inviting people. We were holding seminars. And in fact, we even had elementary students coming to the school, or to the refuge, doing reports on what was happening. But why? So why the misrepresentation? Why? You know, and to me, it was so that the government could justify the force that they wanted to bring against us. It is so that the government can take over downtown Burns and literally make it a military base, or effect martial law, take over the airport, and bring in hundreds and hundreds of troops in order to combat what they were saying were these dangerous men. And the media seemed to continue, like they seemed to be part of it. And so I see down here in the borders, I'm afraid that the same thing is happening. And many people are going to disagree with me, and I'm fine with that. And I admit, again, openly, that there's a lot of facts that I don't know. But one thing I do know, or several things I do know, and I'd like to lay these out. And one is that Trump has wanted to build a border, or a wall along that border, since before he was elected. To me, now, and believe me, I'm not an enemy to Trump. I mean, Trump, I believe, has done some good things. I don't know where he stands as far as whether he's with the people or whether he's a nationalist. You know, I know he basically kind of has openly said he's a nationalist, and we could talk about that a little bit later, because nationalism is dangerous. But I do know that he's done some good things. I haven't been drinking the Kool-Aid, though, completely. And I also know that he wants to build a border, or a wall on the border. And what his motivation for that completely is, I think there's a lot of discussion there. But if I was wanting to build a wall along a border, and I'm not getting people to agree to it, and I know that the funding of it and the expense of it is all going to be difficult. I would if I was just not wanting to be, I guess, completely open and clear, I would create an incident at the border that would make it look like there needs to be a wall. Now, I'm not saying that's happening because, again, a lot of information I just don't have. But I look at that. I'm saying, is that a fact? Are we, is the sorry about that of immigrants that are there truly that are being reported there? I'm going to get this off. That are being reported there, are they truly that? Is there truly that amount? And because we take in 60, 70, 80,000 immigrants a year. And so, 2,000 or 3,000 at the border is not something that's, too much for us to handle. That's not something that is way out of the norm. So why are these immigrants being kind of, thousands and thousands of immigrants coming to this country a year? And the majority of them are actually having benefited our country greatly. And in fact, I can almost be sure to tell you that somewhere down the line, not very long ago, your family wasn't migrated here to the United States. Now, how they did it, I don't know. And a lot of them say, well, it's fine if they migrate to the United States, but they got to do it legally. Now, I agree with that. However, I think there's a lot of debate and interpretation of what is legal. And also, I would say this, that many of our forefathers came to this country illegally. And if you want to disagree with me, well, that's fine. Let's go back in history. You can't go very far before you say, my forefathers or my grandparents were immigrants, and then you can't go very much further than that before you say they were illegal immigrants. And so, this nonsense about, someone coming here legally or not legally, well, that's been going ever since this land was discovered by a white man. And actually, even before that. I know the facts, and I understand history in the way that these people have come over here for centuries, legally and illegally. And basically, what have we established that is legal? Okay. Now, let's look at the situation. Well, I may choose to build a wall around it because it helps me to defend my property. But I also spent 2 years in a federal detention centers with great big walls around me and fences and barbed wire. And maybe that makes me biased. I don't like walls. And maybe I don't like fences and electric fences. Maybe I don't want to be kept in. I want to get on board and drink the Trump Kool-Aid. I really do. I've said that many, many times, but I just can't on some certain issues. And this immigration issue is one of them. I have my experience, and I'll tell you another thing is before we go to break here, I spent, much of my incarceration when I wasn't in solitary confinement with illegal immigrants, where they filled these prisons clear full of people from Mexico, from South America, that came in here, and their only crime was they were here illegally, supposedly. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Hey, you got balls stacking up here, Ammon.
I've touched a nerve, I guess, huh?
You have.
Well, I mean, if you could screen them with those that are, going to add to the principles, I guess. I know that's hard to do, but I want
actually
to.
Doing a great job of screening. We got Jared ready to go next.
Okay.
Man, I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's the fear that just keeps people from stopping to think about the principle that's at stake. They're just so fearful. Well, but what if they're coming? What if they're MS-13? What if they're Arab terrorists? What if they're here to do us harm? And it's like, what if that wall is just a big prison?
Well,
like the world's biggest open air prison. What if that's what it turns into?
And I say we don't turn away people. I don't think it's right by any matter, any rule, to turn away people that need our help.
The only way you can tell for sure is to observe their actions. So if a person comes here and they behave in a way that is harmful to other people and their property, that's criminal behavior.
Exactly.
And that's something that should be dealt with. But if they come here and they are peaceful in their demeanor and they come prepared to seize opportunities that are here that weren't where they came from, I think we ought to be welcoming. But
in our next segment, we're going to talk about some rights that have clearly been established in this country. Is it a right for an immigrant to come into this country? Is it their right or is it a privilege? Whose right is it? Is it our right to let them in? Again, I'm not saying I have the full answers, but I want to talk about that. I know that, at least I believe that I have established rights in this country. I have private property. I have a border around my private property. I don't have a wall, but I have a border. I have walls around where I live. I call it my home. And I certainly don't let anybody into it because I'm afraid that they might hurt my family. Or plus, I like privacy. I'll leave you for now and just want to thank you. I'm going to read through the comments and later and just thank you for being here and your great support. Love you guys.